Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're going to be going through our Great Balls of Fire predictions and revealing who won that in the latest chapter of the war over this briefcase, not a lunchbox, and we'll be undertaking the latest fantasy booking warfare where both of us will be pitching our ideas to turn Bayley heel. That's how bad things have gotten, folks. We're pitching to turn Bayley heel. If you want to go to either of those discussions right away and not experience the ramble chatty bit that we're going to do now, because we haven't seen each other for a while, on the podcast at least, click the timestamps in the video description below to be taken right there. Or stay here for me to say congratulations, Luke Owen.
Thank you very much.
3 days of doing the WrestleTalk news.
Thank you very much.
Associated videos on your own.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. I very much enjoyed it. Couple of teething issues here and there. Had some troubles with the old Google machine. But overall, it was a very fun experience. And thank you to all those who gave me nice feedback and constructive feedback as well, which I took on board. But by the time I did the SmackDown review, I sort of got into a much better... A lot of people were complaining because my... You
mean the last video?
Yes, because people were complaining that my videos were too visual. And that people like just to listen to the videos as opposed to watch them. So when I would introduce a segment as this match X, Y, and Z, people were like, I don't know what match you're talking about. So
you've got to say the name of the match.
You've got to say the name of the match first. So I learned, and I think that going by the reaction from the WrestleTalkers, the WrestleTalk universe, I am WrestleTalk's Roman Reigns, where oh yeah, totally. I mean, you're Samoa Joe. Like you're universally loved, whereas I'm the Roman Reigns of WrestleTalk. Whereas like there is a portion that really like me, and there are a portion that really don't like me because I'm not you, because I'm not the guy.
I wouldn't. YouTube comments can be a bit skewered. Sometimes they just hate whatever goes up there. One bit of constructive criticism I was actually quite curious of, and I never picked up on it before, and I think a lot of people want to know because it was the question most commonly asked in the comments that I saw on your videos, Luke.
Yeah.
What's with the ears?
Yeah, a lot of people are really bugged by the fact that I tuck my ears into my hat. So there's a reason why. It's because my ears are quite tall, so that whenever I wear a baseball cap, they kind of like... They poke out, essentially.
They flap out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll show you.
I'm going to have to describe this for podcast listeners right now. Luke has removed his ears from the top of the hat.
So you see now, they kind of like go...
Well, and now he's trying to speak despite not having the headset on.
Well, yeah, but they sort of like, they just sort of poke out a little bit.
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
why doesn't anybody else have this problem?
Because I've got very...
Isn't there a way to position your hat where... I think that's so. Oh, no, wait, they do look a bit silly.
Doesn't it look?
It's kind of hard not to unsee as well.
That's what I mean. It just looks silly. So to all those people who wonder why I do it, that's why I do it, because it looks ridiculous otherwise.
Well, I'm glad that's settled.
But I like to wear a hat because I've got a really naff receding hairline.
Yeah.
And I like wearing hats. I've always worn baseball caps and I like it.
If you look at the right angle, I used to be very concerned about this old receding hairline as well. If you look at the right angle, like sort of like this, so you're looking down your nose at the camera, no one can see.
No one can see.
No. But I think you did a swaff job, man.
Thanks, man.
And it means I got to have a holiday.
Yeah.
Usually when I go away, which is quite rare, but I have done it twice in recent weeks with Glastonbury and Cornwall. Nothing happens. The channel just stops, so I don't really go away. But you made it happen.
Thank you very much.
So I brought you back a present from Cornwall, which is where I went. And it's some Cornwall-made delicious fudge. It's Rollies fudge, and it is sea salt flavoured.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, it was handmade in Foy, which is written Foey, which I just continued to pronounce Foey to everyone to kind of annoy the pirates that live
I
down
would have
there.
gone with Foey had I read that.
Now, you told me before we got started that you actually can't eat these.
Yes. So I don't think this has been brought... It's been brought up on the Flicker of Myth podcast, the movie show that we do, but it's not
opening your present.
But it's not been brought up onto the WrestleRamble that I am on a year's... a midlife crisis year-long pilgrimage, I think.
As you talk about this, do you mind if I have one?
Go for it.
My mouth's actually starting to
I was going to say, but don't like try and chew into the microphone too much because that's a disgusting sound.
Horrible, yeah.
Well, I'm on like a bit of a midlife crisis, year-long pilgrimage where I have given up junk food, chocolate, sweets, and fizzy drinks. So I can't actually have any fudge until 2018. Is it good?
That's really good.
It looks so good. I'm really, really gutted that I can't have any. I was saying to Ollie earlier,
my God.
Earlier in the week, my lady partner decided to have a crunchie next to me that she had got from underneath our bed, because that's where all the chocolate I had left over from Christmas was. And she took a crunchie and ate it in front of, not ate it in front of me, she didn't chomp it in my face. But I could hear the sweet crunchiness of the honeycomb.
And you can hear this through your headphones.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And it looks... I love fudge.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I love fudge. It's really great.
Do you want a fudge fact from Davis history?
Oh, let's have a fudge fact from Davis history.
So I was a bit of a scamp as a child. I worked everywhere. Worked in as many places as I could. And one of my 14-year-old jobs... There was a concession stand at the back of the tills in Asda, in Swanley, which is near where I grew up, where actually IPW run all their shows. I had no idea because the internet wasn't a thing when I was a kid. So I was like, I want to be a wrestler when I grow up. I had no idea that where I learnt to swim as a child, one of the bigger wrestling promotions in Britain were running their shows. Excuse me. But anyway, this concession stall was a little sweet stand. And amongst its wide array of jobs and duties that you would have to do there, because there was only one person manning the stand, was you would have to pack fudge.
I thought this might be where that story was heading.
Yeah. And of course, to pack fudge, to be a fudge packer, is a derogatory term for a homosexual person, because
here in England, at least, anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know if that insult travels near and far.
But you can kind of work out yourselves how that literally translates. Hopefully, you've got a visual right now.
As a very childish child and young teenager, I thought that was the funniest insult. I don't even use it as a derogatory term against homosexuals. I just think it's a funny word to call people.
Yeah. Why would you use a derogatory term against homosexuals?
Well, absolutely. Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Because that would be very bad.
And I always like dickhead.
Yeah,
that's a really satisfying one to say. But anyway, yeah.
As a Brit as well, and it only really works if you're a Brit, because the Americans can't say it properly.
How do they say it?
Well, no, I was going to say another one, but I'm not sure whether we can say it because we're trying not to swear on
this. Is it the
channel.
W?
The T? No, the TWAT word.
Yeah, it's not to say that, but it just take the S off of swaft, and you kind of. No, you're not. Waft.
Well, I spelt it out, so it's TWAT.
Sure.
But the Americans say it TWOT.
Oh, they say it twats, don't they?
Yes, it rhymes with hot rather than rhymes with hat, which is what it should rhyme with.
Swaft. It rhymes with swaft.
It does rhyme with swaft, yeah.
Anyway, my friends only zeroed in on the fudge packing duties of my sweet stand job. And I've been forever known as a fudge packer in the most literal sense of the word. So let's do the Great Balls of Fire run through. Do you just want to run through who won and each match and who we chose?
Do you want me to do this?
Yes, because I want to have another piece of fudge.
Oh, I see. I thought you were giving me this because you haven't really seen the pay-per-view yet.
There's that as well.
Yeah. So
the only thing I've seen really this week is Bobby Fish's debut match on NXT.
Yes,
which is fine.
We sort of watched that today, yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah,
and
I went home and watched the rest of it. Yeah,
and we watched. While we were having lunch today in the studio, we watched a bit of Starrcade 1998.
Yeah, that's how exciting things get in the studio. What was it? A triple threat: Kidman and Mysterio
and Juventud Guerrero.
Man.
And then after the match, Eddie Guerrero came down to berate Juventud Guerrero, Hoovy. And my friends and I used to call Reg Mysterio because he had a T-shirt once in WWE where like the Y was like curled over, and a non-wrestling friend of ours was like, "Who's this Reg Mysterio?"
What Reginald Mysterio?
Yes,
not very Latino.
We called him Reg Mysterio, and he came down to berate Hoovy and Reg. And then Eddie Guerrero had a match with Billy Kidman, and they were both like Billy Kidman wrestled for like 40 minutes at the start of the pay-per-view. It was very impressive.
Eddie had a great line when he was challenged. Like, he was mouthing off to Billy Kidman, like, "Why don't you come on down here and fight me for the title?" Kidman comes out going, "Okay then." Or unless you're scared, and Guerrero goes, "I'm not scared." But he was obviously scared.
I'm just not mentally prepared.
I haven't had time to prepare.
I'm not even in my gear.
It was very, Eddie, top notch,
so good.
But yes,
Sorry,
through these.
I'll say.
I'm actually going to take my headphones off in case the previous
the
fudge,
disgusting
because it's a
sound,
crumbly fudge rather than a chewy fudge, so it's got a weird taste to it.
Yeah. So we had the kickoff, Neville versus Akira Tozawa, which Neville picked up the victory following a kick to his Great Balls of Fire. We both went Neville in this, which I think was a fairly easy one to predict, and it was indeed Neville won. On the main card, we had Enzo versus the Casshole. I actually went for a draw. I thought it would go to a brutal beatdown, no contest, and then they would have some sort of gimmick match at SummerSlam. However, it seems that though this feud has just been killed dead, and Cass just won in a very decisive manner, which you predicted.
The heat.
Oh, sorry, the heat.
Maybe it's because of the heat.
Oh, it could be because of the heat. For more information on that, watch the WrestleTalk news, which you did the other day. Yesterday, in fact.
So good.
Coming up next, we had Shimaro taking on the Hardys in an Iron Man tag team match. A match I very much enjoyed. Wasn't quite the match of the year contender that the commentary team was making it out to be, nor what actually a few people online have said as well. I thought this was quite a good match, but I think the opening 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes were great, but the middle bit wasn't so good.
Common flaw with Iron Man matches.
Yeah.
You've got to draw it out.
Yeah, absolutely. But we both predicted that Shimaro would win, and they did. Really great ending sequence to that match, though, which was very, very good. And then The Miz and Dean Ambrose had another match. And it looks like they're going to have another match at SummerSlam. There was someone in the comments section who said that they never want to see this feud end because they love both of them.
That's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast was about it. But The Miz picked up the victory thanks to some interference from the Miz-Taraj. I really like the Miz-Taraj. Just because I just think they look so goofy. Because Curtis is dressed like a middle-aged dad, and then Bo Dallas is dressed like one-man gang. And it's just a really funny dynamic between the two of them.
I like it in the way that I like Sami Zayn's performance on SmackDown when he does his nerdy, "Oh, wacky, sorry, I did that bit, well, hey," Woody Allen the thing.
Yeah.
In that, it's good, like it's done well, but I don't think that's how they should be used.
Okay, interesting.
It's a weird kind of enjoyment.
Yeah, I like them in the sense that I really enjoyed J&J Security for Seth Rollins. I remember speaking to a non-wrestling friend. It was a non-wrestling mother, in fact. Her son was really into wrestling. And she was like, but I don't understand. Like, he's this really, like, buff dude. And then he's got these two tiny, like, small people that flank him. It's like, they're not imposing security. And I'm like, yeah, that's the joke. They're meant to be rubbish. Like, and that's it's like the Stooges when they had Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson flanking Vince McMahon, or Mr. McMahon, sorry. Anywho, we then had for the Raw Women's Championship a match you and I both got wrong because we both went for Alexa. Now, while Alexa did retain her title, Sasha Banks got the win through a count-out loss, a loss which ending which I thought was so incredibly lazy because we just saw it on the last...
Just the standard walkout.
Yeah, we just saw it on the last pay-per-view when the Usos did it to the New Day. I just think it's Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer and Figure 4 always says that, like, and Dave Meltzer has noted this as well a lot, that WWE often, like, they find a finish that works. Like, they've all of a sudden they've just discovered this finish that they haven't done in ages. That, like, oh, this gets us out of this situation. So then they just keep doing that finish. For a while, it was the distraction finish.
Distraction roll-up.
Yeah, the distraction roll-up. And every show had a distraction roll-up finish because it was a finish that they kind of latched onto. So I'd imagine we're probably going to see a few more count-out losses in the coming months. So we both went for Alexa, and that was wrong. Then, here comes another one which we differed on. Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. Do you want to take over now that you've had your fudge? Or do you want me to
I had Seth, and you had Bray.
Yes.
And Bray won.
Yeah, well, I thought that Bray would get the first win and then they'd have the rematch at SummerSlam where the 2K18 thing is going to be more heavily promoted and Seth Rollins can get the win there. However, Then Bray just beat Seth again on Raw, and it seems like Bray's moving away from that feud as well, and Seth is going into a feud with Miz and Dean Ambrose instead.
I read a rumour today, I don't know where it was started, but they said that Bray's being groomed for a main event feud of some sort. So that fits into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Two wins over Seth Rollins will certainly do that. But anyway, I said Bray, so I was right on that one. So we're now
we're level.
We're now tied.
Yeah, four out of 6 each.
Yeah. Then, spoilers, we both went for the same things in the next couple of matches. Roman Reigns v Braun Strowman. Decent little brawl. More about the angle afterwards, I felt. But we both said that Roman would win. And in fact, Brawny the Strowman won.
Meltzer gave us a bad tip.
Meltzer did tip us off poor there. Although, in all fairness, Roman Reigns basically beat himself.
Yeah.
It was a terrible ending.
So the idea was that Roman Reigns would win because the reported main event of SummerSlam was going to be Reigns versus Lesnar. The match that was originally meant to main event WrestleMania 34 was reportedly being moved back. But various other people have said, no, that's not the case. It's going to be something else at SummerSlam, and it seems like it is something else at SummerSlam.
Yeah, Bill Batty seems to be very much on the case with this. He was the one who said it was not going to be Roman v Brock at SummerSlam, and he seemed to be quite on the money with that one.
And finally, we've got Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe.
Brock Lesnar versus Samoan Joe, and Brock won. I thought the match went far too short, only about 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's a shame, that. And
real
just one,
shame.
so I can't really comment because I haven't watched it. But the just one F5 finished him off.
See, I don't mind that at all, and I think this is quite typical of wrestling fans, where we complain that there's too many kickouts of finishes, and then as soon as one finisher puts down, we're like, oh well, now he looks weak. Now he's you're not kicking out of enough finishes.
Well, it's a case by case thing, really, because the build that this match had, combined with the 6-minute length, I can see why people were annoyed by the one finisher.
Yeah, but the one finisher, I think, is not the part to focus on. It's the 6-minute length. Like, if this match... all it needed was another 5 minutes. I think if they had another 5 minutes and then the one F5 at the end, I would have had absolutely no complaints about it. But unfortunately, I just thought it went too short. But yeah, we both got 6 out of 8 on our predictions.
Which means that currently, for the month, it's 2-1 to you because you won the fantasy booking scenario for the Kurt Angle mystery thing, which turns out looks like I was going to be right.
Well, unless it is Dixie Carter, which it's not going to be Dixie Carter. Come on, guys, it's not going to be Dixie Carter.
It's not like she was this amazing on-screen talent.
Well, exactly.
Before.
I mean, we were talking about this with some of the guys in the studio yesterday, that, like, it's not like they're going to bring out Dixie Carter and everyone's like, oh my God, it's Dixie Carter.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be like, who's this? Who is this woman? Because she wasn't even a TV character when everyone was actually watching TNA. She was an on-screen character during like some of TNA's really downturn years. So it's I don't think there's going to be a lot of people who be like, oh my God, it's Dixie. It's not like Eric Bischoff coming out on Raw.
Anyway, it's all for this, of course, inside this lunchbox.
That you hit me with a steel chair over.
Sorry about that, mate. How are you feeling?
It's fine. I had a couple of ice packs on me yesterday.
You sold it well.
Well, I mean, as someone said on Twitter, will I be selling my injuries? But I am the Dean Ambrose of WrestleTalk, so I'm just going to keep running and doing topes.
Do a dive.
Yeah.
So 2-1 at the moment for the month. Of course, at the end of the month, the person with the most predictions / fantasy booking warfare wins will get the lunchbox. So, on to the next fantasy booking warfare. I'm going to put the Money in the Bank, my Money in the Bank briefcase, just here to remind what the prize is.
Yep.
So, the fantasy booking warfare this week is how we would turn Bayley heel.
Yes, the Bayley heel turn.
You won the last one, so you begin.
So, winners go first. Let me just bring up... I'm going to hope now that I've actually saved my memo. I did.
Do you want to tell everybody when you came up with this idea?
About 5 minutes before we came in to record this.
Luke was looking very sweaty and worried. I came up with mine yesterday.
Because, right, okay, so we were meant to record this episode yesterday, and we texted each other on Wednesday night saying that, we'll do the Bayley heel turn as the fantasy booking warfare. So I had Wednesday night, and then Thursday, which is when you came up with yours, right? You came up with yours Thursday?
I came up with mine in the morning, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was editing Sunday's video, so I was a bit preoccupied with that. And then I was editing all the way home yesterday, and then I was kind of editing into the evening as well. And then it was until I got to the studio today, I was like, I still haven't done my fantasy booking warfare. And then I forgot again because we were finalising Sunday's video. And yeah, so I came up with this about... I had my lunch, and then while Starcade was on in the background, I fantasy booked.
If this is going to be very, like, she gets beaten, lays down for Hulk Hogan in the middle of the ring, I know where you've got this idea from. So, yeah, go for it, man.
Okay, so our story begins at SummerSlam. For the Raw Women's Championship, we have a fatal four-way between Bayley, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, and Nia Jax. I think that's the direction they're more or less heading anyway. In the build-up to SummerSlam, Bayley is going on a complete winning streak. She is they're going to be... what I'd like to see for the build for this is that they just bring up girls, local jobbers to come in, so they're not beating women on the roster, they're just beating jobbers and stars from NXT maybe coming up. So, like, you know, not like a Peyton Royce or a Billie Kay, but like a Santana Garrett just coming up and just, you know, losing in 30 seconds. But Bayley, of all of them, is the one that is looking the most impressive and the one that's looking the most dominant. She needs to have a good rocket behind her going into this match at SummerSlam, which she wins decisively. She dominates the match, wins, and is the Raw Women's Champion, and everyone is elated because Bayley is again ascended to the throne. The very next night on Raw, she gets challenged by Sasha Banks, who was, you know, who had a good showing in the women's match, but just couldn't quite get there. So she challenges Bayley to a Raw Women's Championship match. During that match, Bayley gets the visual pin, the main event. Bayley gets the visual pin with a Bayley to belly, but the referee is out. Sasha then rolls her up, fistful of tights, and gets the win. Sasha Banks is now the Raw Women's Champion. Bayley had a less than 24-hour reign. After such a dominant streak and a dominant showing at SummerSlam, she's once again back in the chase for the title, even though she actually had the match won. So, Bayley can't get her rematch. Every time she's trying to get into a number one contendership match, she keeps getting screwed out of it. There's DQs, this, that, and the other. But she still looks great in each one of those, and she keeps getting visual pins throughout this, but she just cannot get the rematch. Sasha, on the other hand, is lying, cheating, and stealing her way to victories all the way through to the Survivor Series. She is emulating her hero, Eddie Guerrero, and she keeps bringing up. So Sasha, although the babyface, is also showing some heelish tendencies because she essentially is cheating to win, which is a heelish move, but she's a babyface while doing it.
I thought Sasha is the heel here.
No, Sasha's the babyface here.
When did Bayley turn heel?
Bayley hasn't turned heel yet.
Okay. Oh, but she's still...
So,
okay.
Bayley is still a babyface, but Sasha is also a babyface, but showing heelish tendencies. We get to Survivor Series. Bayley is the number one contender, and this is marketed as, like, the rematch. It's the rematch of TakeOver Brooklyn 1. And they do this big video package. They're building this up for weeks, almost to the extent of like Brock v. Joe, where they're building it, like hyping this up and being like, this is the rematch that everybody wants to see. It's babyface versus babyface. It's friend versus friend. And they do this big old build and this big old video package highlighting that friendship. Bayley, once again in this match, gets the visual pin. And the referee is down and out. Bayley, frustrated, just doesn't know what left to do. She keeps winning matches, but no one is there to count that win.
Do you just want to explain what a visual pin is?
Oh,
just
yeah.
in case.
Okay, yeah, so a visual pin is when you have your opponent pinned, but the referee's not there to count it. So, like, you know, the referee's knocked down, you get the pin, and the crowd goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but the referee doesn't get there. Anyway, Bayley starts to freak out, sorry, Bayley gets the visual pin, and referee finally wakes up. 1, 2, kick out. Banks kicks out. Oh, so close to again becoming champion. As Bayley is arguing with the ref, Sasha rolls her up, grabs her fistful of tights. 1, 2, Bayley kicks out. Great near fall, because that's how Sasha's been winning all of her matches. Everyone thinks that's going to be the finish here. Bayley gets up and freaks out at Sasha. She's like, why do you keep cheating? Why are you cheating to win? And Sasha's like, I'm not. I'm playing by the rules. I'm playing by the rules. She's like, no, you're not. And just like screaming in her face. As she's screaming and she's trying to do it, she just grabs her and hits a massive Bayley to belly and knocks her down to the ground. And she goes for the cover, and then she stops. And she picks her up, grabs her another Bayley to belly, and slams her down again. She goes for the pin, and she's like, no. And she picks her up, and she slams her down to the mat again with another Bayley to belly. The commentators at this point now are selling this like absolute death, begging for Bayley to stop. You've got to stop this madness. Corey Graves, breaking his heel persona, is begging for Bayley to stop. Charlotte and Becky Lynch come down because this is their friend.
And it's a joint pay-per-view.
It's a joint pay-per-view. This is, this is the four horsewomen coming together, and they're coming down to beg her to stop doing it, and she just ignores them and just keeps picking her up and throwing down these Bayley's belly. She's hit about 6 by this point. And then she just looks at them, flips them all off, and then she puts her foot on Sasha's chest and gets the 1, 2, 3. And that's your Bayley heel turn.
Okay, tough one to beat there.
Thank you very much. Now, obviously, regular viewers to this know that you and I have very different styles with writing out our fantasy booking work. Whereas I have a couple of bullet points, and I kind of like I sometimes I'll ad lib in between those bullet points. Whereas you like to write essays.
Yeah, I've got a. I mean, that's not as long as usual. That's like what, a page and a half? Okay.
Anyway,
right.
so I'm in. I'm not. I haven't looked at the screen. I don't know what you're going with.
So here's my Bayley heel turn thing. Now, before we get into this, you've got to remember, I'm booking this for the strengths of everyone. The real money in Bayley is to become a super babyface. At the moment, if we're going to turn a heel, I still don't think the right thing to do is turn a heel, but that's the rules of the game for this fantasy booking warfare. So this, keep in mind, is a way to turn Bayley heel with the aim of getting her over as a bigger babyface.
Okay, yeah.
In the end of it. So that's where this goes. So, just a little bit of a prelude. Great Balls of Fire, of course. Alexa walked out and retained against Sasha. And on Raw the next night, Bayley pinned Bliss in the tag team match that they had with Jax and Banks on the respective sides. Okay, so it's announced that Sasha Banks will get her rematch against Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam after the Great Balls of Fire walkout. And after a while, Jax, because she's got that whole thing going on with Bliss, like you said you'll give me a title shot. I've been helping you out as your bodyguard. Jax is also added into this match, so it's currently a 3-way. Bayley goes up to Banks backstage and says, well, can I be added to the SummerSlam match as well? I'm a female wrestler on Raw too. Because she pinned Bliss on the Raw just last week, and she never got a fair rematch from losing her title. She had to do the kendo stick on a pole nonsense, and she just hates Bliss. Also, SummerSlam is the 2-year anniversary of their infamous NXT TakeOver Brooklyn match in the same city. And Banks says, look, even if it was up to her, being like, and it's probably a good thing that it's not, because in the main event, it's everyone for themselves, and I want the title. Like, I don't want to have to take you out to win. And especially because, Bayley, you lack that killer instinct. Building up on the thing that they've been playing up for ages, that Bayley hasn't got that edge that gets her the victories. So she wouldn't want to beat up her best friend, Banks is saying, essentially. So Bayley, as the odd one out, has another sit-down interview with Corey Graves, like they did in that awful segment building up to Great Balls of Fire. But this time she's quite honest. She's like, I'm lost. It was the build-up to
Extreme Rules.
Oh, was it Extreme Rules? Sorry. What did I say?
Great Balls of Fire.
Great Balls of Fire.
She wasn't even on the card.
Let's just call it Backlash. So she's saying she's lost to Corey. She doesn't know what to do anymore. And Corey sort of breaks the interview and says, look, I wasn't going to do this because I find your optimism insufferable. But I might not be able to wrestle, but I damn sure know how to win. And if you come under my wing, Bayley, I can help you get that killer instinct. I saw the promise in NXT, but let's be honest, since coming to the main roster, it hasn't been all roses like it should have been. I can teach you to have that killer instinct, Bayley. Bayley seems tempted, but then this is still in the interview, she seems tempted, like, maybe that's a good idea. But then she goes, you know what? You've just solidified my own thinking. Cheating, shortcuts, that's not my way. I'm going to do it out. I'm going to earn it and I'm going to do it my way. So over the next few weeks building up to SummerSlam, she embarks on a mission of rebuilding. She starts to beat local competitors, similar to what you said. I've gone in here, bring up a few Mae Young Classic entrants, kind of promote that because it's coming up on the network. Nice bit of cross promotion there. She's sort of doing the John Cena building up young talent, but beating them. They look good in defeat, but Bayley looks like this American hero almost. And Corey's saying on commentary all throughout, this is all well and good, but you know, she needs to show a mean streak. That's where she's fallen down in the past. She's still not learning from her mistakes. Cole points out that Bayley is doing things her way, the right way. Corey persists, saying that if she's ever going to become championship material again, she's got to embrace the hate a little bit. That's what she's missing. Then on the Go Home episode of Raw, just before SummerSlam, Kurt Angle, seeing Bayley's progression, says, Bayley, I'm not going to give you a spot, but if you can beat Nia Jax tonight, you will take Nia Jax's spot at SummerSlam.
Like it.
So Jax is outraged, obviously, because what the hell? But Banks is owed this sort of rematch, and Jax was only going to get it because of Bliss's favour. So Jax and Banks have this match on Raw. It's a good match. Banks is in Bayley's corner. Bliss is in Jax's corner. There's sort of some interference. Banks and Bliss chasing each other around the ring. Bliss interferes. They do the spot where Bliss jumps up and then jumps down, so Sasha gets up, and the referee's like saying, Sasha Banks, get off. Jax and Bayley are both down, and Jax is sort of on the ropes with her head out, and then Bliss hits Jax with the belt.
Wow.
So Jax sort of like flops over. Bayley doesn't see this. Bayley gets the cover. 1, 2, 3. Bayley's the winner. Bayley's going to go in. But Jax is furious.
As you would be.
Alexa Bliss is like, I don't have to face Jax anymore. And then runs off. Jax destroys Bayley.
Oh.
Because she's just enraged. So she really, really kills out Bayley. And afterwards, Bliss is bragging backstage. She's like, I'm a genius. I don't have to face Jax anymore. And she just took out the other person in the match. So I only have to worry about Sasha Banks now. Kurt Angle comes over and says, No, you haven't. It's now a 4-way. So Bliss is trying to be evil, but you know, we like babyface general managers here.
Yeah.
So it's now a fatal 4-way at SummerSlam. Later, Corey and Bayley pass each other backstage and says, that's what happens when you play it straight. You know, it could have worked, but you just got beaten up for your efforts, and you kind of cheated indirectly. So in the actual SummerSlam match, Bayley's still really injured and taped up from the Nia Jax beatdown, and as it starts, everyone goes for Bliss. By the way, should have mentioned it, it's not a fatal 4-way, it's a 4-way elimination match.
Cool.
Everyone goes for Bliss immediately because they're all annoyed at her. Bliss is eliminated within the first couple of minutes.
Nice.
We're immediately going to have a new champion, but Bayley is sort of injured in the happenings. So she, like, really injured, like one of those knees to the head on the side by the barricade. Corey throws down his headset and says, like, look, I can't watch this. Helps Bayley to the back because it was a similar injury that ended his own career to the head, concussions, of course. Like her or not, I don't want to see it happen to Bayley. So Corey helps the EMTs carry Bayley out. So Sasha and Jax, the only two left in the ring, and they have a brutal match, quite similar to their long, what was that?
The Raw main event.
The Raw main event.
Gauntlets.
The gauntlet match, yeah. Especially because Bliss attacked Banks after the elimination when Bliss was eliminated. So Sasha's trying to overcome the beast. Eventually, Bayley hobbles down to help her best friend, covered in bandages, still selling the head injury. And she's got like a neck brace on as well. She pushes Jax's leg away from the ropes. So Banks has got Jax in the bank statement. Nia Jax is trying to get over to the ropes. She gets her foot on the ropes, but Bayley pushes the foot off, and then Jax taps. She can't take it anymore.
Because she thinks that she's got the foot on the ropes anyway, so it was okay for her to tap.
Well, it's actually a callback to the Charlotte match in Fastlane. Remember when Banks came out and did the same thing for Bayley?
Very nice.
So that happens. Banks celebrates. She's made Jax tap. She thinks she's won. She doesn't know Bayley was involved. Bayley gets in the ring behind her and removes the neck brace, removes all the bandages, And Corey is now screaming on the headset like, "That's just how we planned it. Come on, Bayley. Come on, Bayley. Pin her." And Sasha Banks. Bayley looks reluctant though. Sasha Banks turns round. Belly to Bayley. Bayley's the new heel champion with Corey Graves as the kind of Bobby Heaton.
Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heaton.
I don't know what I'm talking about. The Bobby Heenan manager sort that would happen if the whole Kurt Angle storyline went the way I wanted it to as well. So Bayley cuts a heel promo the next night. She changes up her ring gear. She walks out. She pops the inflatable tube.
Nice. Love it.
Graves becomes obsessed with the belt and interferes in matches for Bayley's benefit. Nothing physical. You don't want a man punching a lady on WWE, but
just a bit of tripping.
Yeah, a bit of tripping, grabbing the foot when they bounce off the ropes, and gets her out of title defenses. So Bayley isn't defending the title because he just loves being close to the gold. They do some fun skits of Corey and Bayley enjoying the high life, some photo shoots. But Bayley, she's out of place. Doesn't really fit in there. But it builds up to a Survivor Series match where Banks finally gets her revenge. Corey keeps postponing the fight, but he can't do it any longer. He's been banned from ringside. This happens on the go-home show to Survivor Series. Kurt's like, "You're not going to be at ringside. It's just going to be Banks versus Bayley."
A two-man commentary booth?
Yeah.
Perish the
I didn't even
thought.
think of that. Bring in Percy Watson. So
we need to make these numbers look right.
So there's an in-ring segment, and Graves is like, "You've done so well since you come under my wing, Bayley, but I'm not convinced you know how to be bad. If you've really got this killer edge, there's a girl sitting at ringside called Izzy. Go over there and tear up her 'I still believe in Bayley' sign."
Uh-oh.
So Bayley gets out, goes over to rip up the sign. She's going to do it. Izzy's looking at her like welling up, and she can't bring herself to rip it. Corey gets out and does it for her. Mum slaps him, and Bayley, out of instinct, just slaps the mum back. Yeah, and now Bayley's like, "What have I become?" And Graves suddenly looks skeptical of Bayley. So at the Survivor Series match, Banks and Bayley really go at it. They have a full-on grudge match. Bayley is definitely more aggressive in the ring because that's what she's learnt. But there are a few times where she could cheat, but doesn't. Like the usual, get him into the corner, I'm going to let you come out. Or she's down on the ground, could keep grounding and pounding, and I'm going to let you up. So you're sort of like, Bayley's she's gone into the darkness, and now she's come out the other end, stronger, and with the bit that made her noble and fighting from before. Banks skeptical. The finish comes when everyone and the ref is down. Corey runs in, even though he's banned from ringside. WWE security suck. He hands Bayley the belt to use on Sasha, and Bayley just throws it back at him, says no. So Graves then hands it to Sasha, and Banks turns heel on Bayley, and now Bayley's a babyface again, hopefully rebuilt, and she's got a heel Banks to go up against. And that's really where everyone should be. You want a really good Bayley babyface and a heel Sasha Banks. Oh, that was long. Sorry, guys. That was a long one. Whose fantasy booking warfare did you like the most? There's a poll that has just appeared above my head.
Sorry, I was going to say, I really liked yours. I thought it was very good.
Oh, thank you
some
very
nice
much.
Moments in there.
Thank you.
Quite a lot of similar, because I was going to go down the embrace the hate. That was my initial direction I was going down, but I think we actually said I was going in one direction. I couldn't make that direction work, which is why I then switched it up and went the other way. But I liked how there was quite a lot of parallels.
Yeah. We're smart guys. There's
smart
a
guys.
smart way to do this. So
we both went for that double turn option as well, whereas mine looks like Banks is going to be the one that turns heel because she's been cheating all this time, but actually it's Bayley that turns heel. And yours, it's like this is Bayley's time to go fully heel. I loved that reveal of Sasha. I thought that was great.
Thanks. The original path I was going down was Bayley and Corey Graves becoming like a sickly biker couple. And I was just like, I got so far down this route and I just thought, this is awful.
Where have I gone?
So I backtracked. I was like, I'm going slightly different direction, push through. But yes, the poll is now above my head. So vote in there who you think had the better fantasy booking warfare scenario, myself or Luke. But that's all we've got time for today, so click the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or WrestleTalk news. This has been Luke Owen, I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Rambling.